Any Small Goodness, Chapter 2. Our cat's called Huitlacoche, for the black as night fungus of corn which our family loves to eat, squished and spiced with onion and garlic and chilies. Cooked up, it looks pretty much like swamp glug, but its taste is like some food of heaven. Behind our house, Abuelita's got a corn plot which she cares for with tenderness. Day and night, a small scarecrow shuffles over it, draped with a tattered rebozo. Each year when the plants show first green, Abuelita's out there too, chanting them up, with small prayers for height and flavor. Small prayers mostly for Huitlacoche. Diosito, she says in her cobwebby voice, bless this corn with large quantities of fungus. For best results, she repeats the request in Nahuatl, an ancient tongue I don't understand. Abuelita's willing to call upon all gods for help, not just Jesus alone. Some people might bristle about this tactic. I say it's smart to cover your bases. The fungus affects the kernels themselves. If all goes well in our family opinion, the yellow nubs will blight and swell to the size of grapes, to the color and softness of baby mice. Anyway, about our cat. She's pretty goofy looking. From a run-in with a door, her face is a little flat, and her tongue tip sticks out always, like a soft pink dart. She seems pleased to be called for corn fungus, becoming one big purr at the sound of her name. Under the table at mealtimes, Huitla gives us soft nudges, hopeful for snacks. Or she sleeps on us in a warm curl while we watch TV. We totally adore her. Sometimes she just brings the rubbery tail of a rat she's murdered into the house. Because she adores us back, and because she ate the rest. Huitla's a definite part of our family until Mega Mango, my brother's band, is born. Luis is in high school, but still too young to drive. That's the low thing in his life. Rhythms rush through his blood with such force, side by side with him I seem half asleep. Flareless while he puts flair on everything. He's always snapping his fingers to some inside beat, swaying his body like a dazed snake. Abuelita explains the reason. His nahual, like a birth animal, is Ozomatli, the Aztec monkey god of music. So it's not surprising he taught himself to play an instrument. The trumpet's his torture mode of choice, Papi says, in a way that shows he's proud. Once dominating the trumpet, it's only a matter of time till Luis forms a band. I think it's cool he does this, but I don't say so or he'd swell like a blowfish with orgullo. Flareless me. No chance of pride-filled swell-ups. Anyway, I don't exactly ooze musical promise, and I'm a little kid to Luis. Still from pity, probably, he lets me play the gourd in the band. The gourd works by rasping its ribbed edge with a stick till it shrieks. Crink. Pretty lame as instruments go. I don't care. I'd play a cucaracha to be in Mega Mango. The band practices in our garage, nearly throbbing the whole place down. Right away, we make a pact with the neighbors, limiting musical hours. Musical is in quotes, since some neighbors consider our sound totally noise. Most love it really, I think. Sometimes I see them stop pulling weeds or scattering fertilizer and break into their own private dance steps. One day Huitla makes the big mistake of napping in the garage. No one notices the cat, but when we blast forth, she sure notices us. Takes off like swarms of demon dogs are raking her heels with razor teeth. Man, talk about flying fur. I forget all about her wild escape till night. Mommy's stirring the various pots that will become dinner. Where's Huitla, she asks, because that cat is always twined around her legs when food's available, nearly tripping her sometimes. Mommy doesn't mind. She always stops cooking, stoops her dove-shaped body down, giving Huitla a little pat. Ay, Huitla, old black lump, she croons gently. One day you will simply break Mommy's old neck. Then what will those greedy ones do for a cook? She chuckles a lot. She finds herself so humorous. That, Huitla, Mommy repeats. Donde está? Luis gouges a taste of refried beans from a saucepan. No sé, he grunts. She took off, I say, in explanation of everything. Things are pretty quiet at dinner, except for cat questions. We're all wondering where Huitla's gone. Rosa wanders from one room to room. Huitla, she cries over and over. Ben, kitty, come. But she doesn't. Not tonight. Not any night. From the start, we search everywhere. All of Huitla's favorite spots. Like beside the scarecrow in the corn plot, where she loves to plop her lazy self down in the fullest sun. The neighbors help. They love our little cat for her sweetness and for her funky stuck-out tongue. With Crayolas, Rosa makes a sign, just the face of a little black cat poking out the tip of its tongue. My kitty is lost, she writes, with our help, and gives the number of our telephone. It's 2 weeks since we've seen her. Now a little silence moves through the house as if filling Huitla's space. No one ever says so, but maybe we guess she's dead, or at least that she won't return. Abuelita has her words of comfort to say. We will find her, Dios mediante. Rosa's the most desolate. She sometimes crawls into my lap and says nothing, just sucks her thumb. It's a typical night at home. Rosa's babbling into a big plastic bottle, squeaking like Alvin the Chipmunk. Luis is blazing out Chongo on the radio. Turn it down, I'm trying to study, I shout. We'll try harder. Above the blare, the phone rings. Zafo, Luis yells, which means dibs not answering. Zafo, Rosa echoes. Though she's sitting close, Abuelita also refuses to answer. Or speak face-to-face or don't speak at all, is her thought on the subject of telephones. Given the chance, she'd throw it off a cliff. I dash up and take the call. At first, there's only breathing on the line. Hello? At last, a voice comes. Hello, this is Leo Love speaking. This is Leo Love breathing, I think. Leo Love, caray. It's got to be one of those crank romantic calls you hear about sometimes. I don't want to become involved in anything weird, so I nearly hang up. I've got who, the voice makes frustrated owl calls, then just blurts, I've got your cat. Huitlacoche, I shout into the receiver. Yes, Huitlacoche, the man agrees. Over a series of explosions of joy in the room, I take the guy's datos down. Name, address, telephone, I say. We're on our way. And we are, all of us piling into Papi's car. Valentin, laughing, all ecstatic and crying. Valentin goes jittering down the street, slowing, speeding up, sometimes stopping in full so we can check the directions. We're all so anxious. When we reach the given address, it seems like we've been driving forever. Actually, it's not many blocks. Mr. Leo Love doesn't need to hear his doorbell. We arrive in such an excitement he can't miss us. He opens the door. He's an old white guy, wire-bearded and small. No Mr. Universe, but more with the build of a sparrow. Pants creased sharp enough to slice chorizo. Dressed in tweed, so he looks like he's wrapped in tree bark. He talks stiff as bark, too, like every word makes a difference to his life. Then suddenly he nearly blasts his bark off with a sneeze. A chorus of saluds follow. Quickly, Abuelita holds out a lime from her lumpy purse. She never travels without limes. Leo Love looks surprised. You take this, she orders him. Good for all things. He lamely takes the lime. I am allergic to cats, he says, embarrassed, holding out Huitla. Limones, good also for that, says Abuelita. By now, Rosa's popcorning up and down so much that for safety, Leo Love hands the cat to Mommy. Squashed in face, tip of pink tongue flagging out. It's our cat, all right. Hey, fish breath, Luis greets her, words of love for him. What's the next step? Everyone's in confusion. Everyone except Abuelita. She bustles up and embraces this stranger, plants kisses on his tortilla-white cheeks. Estimado Señor Mr. Leo Love, she says with fervor, you are a most very good hero. Señor Mr. Leo Love seems amazed by that, and touched. In confusion, he invites us into his immaculate house. Everyone sits in a perched position. The furnishings are so clean. Mommy's eyes survey the room. They say that she loves his housekeeping. Leo Love offers coffee. We all accept. In her excitement, even Rosa. This is a happy time. I guess that's why Mommy allows it. Anyway, when Rosa's done, it's not coffee. Just some pale gunk, mainly sugar, so thick it could hold bricks together. While Rosa glugs this down, she never lets go of Huitla. Now that she's semi-settled down, Mommy allows Rosa to hold the cat. On her chair, Abuelita leans forward, like a small and eager bird. We await the prize words that are surely coming. Now, Señor Mr. Leo Love, she says with respect and careful words, like taking careful steps on stairs, how arrived our sweet little gatita to your door? Somehow Leo Love has followed this thick braid of conversation. He sips his coffee and says, actually, she did not arrive at the door. I discovered her near my avocado tree. I do not wish to seem rude, says Papi, who has never seemed rude in his whole life, but 2 weeks? Leo Love nods his head. Yes, it is certainly a long time not to communicate. However, there was nothing to identify her. Huitla has tags from the vet. He even had to make them 2 times because of the problems of spelling. She had no tags, he continues, and I have allergies. But what could I do? I decided that at my age I had earned the right to throw caution away. I decided to keep the little creature. I hadn't much else left to offer, so I fed her trout. A shadow skims Mommy's face. It seems so mean. I cannot compete with trout. Leo Love goes on. However, all the trout in the world could not assuage my guilt. Someone must miss her terribly. A child, most probably. Today I searched the rescue site again and by good fortune found the cat's collar. Broken. It was precisely then I dialed your number. At that, Abuelita perks up. She puts two and two together fast. You believe in God? She bores into him, all energized. Leo Love looks at her as if seeing a blink of new light about the situation. He says, it is something always worth considering. For the moment, that satisfies Abuelita. Then, like a meteor shooting on a wild course, Rosa asks, will you be my pen pal? Even though he lives so close, she could spit about as far as his house, he agrees. When we leave, Leo Love asks, Hurukuch, what sort of name is that? Abuelita explains, it's Mexico for corn fungus. Leo Love looks stunned. Soon I bring you some. And she will. And she'll see that he eats it too. We've thanked Leo Love so much he's retreated. We're outside the house, standing under the avocado tree. A slight breeze breathes by. The rustle of leaves sound like I'm inside a flight of birds. The newspaper boy wheels up in a gravelly crunch. That's your cat? He asked, eyeing Huitla. Yes. What a pain. We all ask what he means. Mr. Love spent a whole night in that tree, he says, pointing to where we are, babysitting the cat. He's kinda old, and a handful of cat plus fear of falling kept him up there. How do you know this? Papi asks. I found him. Next morning, firemen got him down. The day flames out in a smog sunset, a wild gift of L.A. On the way home, Papi says, this Leo Love is a brave man. In spite of fear, he saved Huitla. When no eyes are upon him, that is a person's true test. I file this inside of myself. Maybe one day when no eyes are on me, I'll have a true test too. Now Huitla's home, sleeping on the sofa in a happy sprawl of fur. I sit beside her, totally sunken down. Our sofa's so soft, sitting on it's like being swallowed by a clam. I think about old Leo Love, who Abu now calls El Estimado, the esteemed one. Going against allergies and dizziness and possible broken bones to save our cat. You could do worse than be like such a person.